Hey, 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 it's Nina Lemtier here, the Nutrition Lifestyle Strategist. We are on session 4 of our silent struggles of women with womb conditions. So welcome, welcome, welcome. I'm just going to invite how was your day? Hope you've had a restful Sunday. Trying to get Alero on. Alero, if you could request to join again. I don't know why it cancelled, but this is a very kind of interactive live. So please feel free to ask questions, share perspectives, and we will leave inspired, empowered, and yeah. So welcome, Alero. Thanks
Hello.
for joining. So I'll let you go first because I think I always go first.
And I'm trying to make sure my camera stays still. 1 second.
Okay.
Good evening, everyone. My name is Alero, aka Sissy Alero. This is our 4th season. Can't believe it.
Yeah.
First one for the year.
Yes.
We're thankful.
25.
Yeah. Slowly and surely we're getting there. So
Absolutely.
if you've got any questions, I know we're still waiting for a few people to join in, but if you've got any questions, if you can just type it in the comment section so that we can have a look at that. And also, if you'd like to come online as well to speak or say something, we don't mind that. That would be great.
Great. So do you want to go first in kind of sharing who you are and how you've
Yeah.
into this space?
Yeah. So I hope you guys don't get bored with us saying this every month, but we just have to say for those who haven't heard it before and those who would learn from it as well. So my name is Alera, as I've said. I came into this space because of my health situation, my health condition. I started off from when I started my periods, having period pains, heavy periods. As at that time, I mean, no one knew what fibroids or anything was. As I got older, it got worse. And eventually, when I was in university, found out I had ovarian cyst, went in for surgery, and they also found I had fibroids. So the surgery was done to take out ovarian cyst on my right ovary, as well as the fibroids, because there was a lot of them everywhere. They weren't too big, but I was having really, really, really heavy periods from the age of 12, 13. It was really bad. And the pain was horrific. So obviously the fibers were the reasons why I was having all of that, even before the ovarian cyst grew. And forward years later, the pain came back. About 2 years or so later, the pains came back and it was worse. 2008 or 2006, I had my another procedure called hydrotubation. And in that procedure, after the scan, they had MRI done, they said my fallopian tubes were blocked. So I had to have hydrotubation. It was painful. It was worse than the pain I was actually going through. They had to do one tube first, one fallopian tube first, because it was so bad. The pain was so bad. I had to wait for I think a few weeks or a few days. I can't remember now. That I went back to do the second one. And they said it was supposed to help with the pain and the bleeding. After a few weeks, I went back to having heavy periods again. And 2008, after I had my first surgery for fibroids, 2008, it grew back. It was obvious it's back. I was told the best thing was to have another surgery. I didn't want another surgery. Then 2009, I started my postgraduate, and I could barely manage. I was always in and out of hospital all through. And eventually I had another surgery done and then another procedure, another procedure. I was trying to have invasive ones because I didn't want to be cut open again. And 2018, forward to 2018, MRI found I done ultrasound scan, and it was saying that I had adenomyosis, and it was really bad. It was really, really bad. And then 2024, 2020, I had a surgery again for fibroids. And 2024 and 2023, my MRF showed that I had um, endometriosis. I had the test done and everything, procedure done, and it was found that it was deep endometriosis, and it had affected my bowel. And I was told I had a 50% chance that I might not end up with a stomach bag, which I didn't want to hear. And then also my fallopian tubes, my ovaries were all damaged. So because of all of that, there was nothing, I couldn't even save my eggs or anything. So last year, February, I decided take it all out because the pain was just, it was just beyond me. Um, so that it's been fine. I am slowly learning how to live without pain. I still have to, after hysterectomy, taking out my fallopian tubes, my organs I took out, fallopian tubes, my ovaries, my cervix, my uterus. So I've taken out 4 organs, and the body's never the same. It's a lot better. I'm so glad I'm not having periods. Trust me, I'm so glad. I've had enough periods to last me a lifetime. But yes, so this is a new stage of learning what to do with my body to make it function better. I'm still getting joint pains and all of that. Learning, I'm researching, and the doctors are not helping at all at this point. But I'm researching and finding out what to take to help my bones. Like I need to take more calcium, more vitamin D, and all of that. So I'm still in the healing journey and the process. And as I go along, I'm going to be sharing that with everyone as well.
Thank you for sharing, Alero. Yeah, I think I hear your story differently every time you share it, or you just share more information. I don't know
More
which one it is, but
information.
more
Yeah.
information. Okay. But I know whatever the case is, our journeys are obviously different, and healing, I suppose it's kind of awareness at different stages. And I think obviously now you're advocating in regards to raising awareness so that women can be able to be best equipped to make, decisions earlier on, as early as possible, to reduce the level of trauma, that they could experience on their journey. So thank you.
Thank
So
you, Nina. Nina, I can't see you.
you can't see me.
No. Can
Okay.
everyone see both of us?
Can can everyone see me or see us both? Can someone, if that, can you see me? Or Andy, I think Andy is here. Can you see me? Just to double check. Okay,
They
Andy can
can.
see me.
I don't know why I
Okay,
can't.
great. And I will live back. Sorry, if you could put your name. I know you've been making a few comments. Thank you for joining. So for those of you that don't know who I am, I'm Nina Lemtier, and I'm a nutrition lifestyle strategist. I found myself in this space through having to help myself. And to cut a long story short, I had a very traumatic myomectomy, and this was after I'd had miscarriages, and I was basically told that I'd be lucky to have one child and I could try, after healing. And I was also, before the op, actually, I was told that there was a high chance I'd lose my uterus, and that wasn't acceptable for me because I wanted kids, and I just had to kind of plead with them to not take out all the fibroids during the procedure. So just to focus on the biggest ones, and one was as big as a football, or nearly as big as a football. And luckily I did, because it was very touch and go with what was removed. I lost a lot of blood. And it was confirmed if they had tried to take them all out, I wouldn't have had my uterus. So I got out of that operation, and I just decided that I wasn't doing any more operations to take these horrid things out. And I needed to figure out why mine had grown so big. And that's where it all kind of started for me. And fast forward, on my second daughter, I was told that the fibroids they'd left behind had significantly shrunk. And my mindset was that I didn't want the ones that were removed to start growing back. So that was my focus. And since then, I've had three kids. I've stopped because I'm good. I'm good for now. And you know, I've had to have 3 C-sections. So I've been cut open, but for a good reason, I suppose, to take a baby out. And this was because of the initial myomectomy. So I've been cut open 4 times, but I've never felt better, you know, and I made lots of changes, incremental changes over the years. And you know, today I can say I've never felt better. And the fibroids they're going to shrink and disappear. They're like pea sizes, I've been told. And I feel great. So I'm about empowering women like Hilero to raise awareness around these conditions, and really early intervention with what you can do. So obviously you're going to be given medical advice. You know, you're going to be given guidance on what options are there, whether they're invasive or less invasive. But the key steps that you can be taking on a day-to-day basis is what we're really just advocating with, and letting you know that there is a lot you can do upon diagnosis. You know, women are being told to not worry, you know, if they're small. So they're being told, okay, they're small, don't worry about it. You know, just get on with your life. But actually, that's when you really want to be taking steps, you know, making certain factors that are personal to you heightened. So you really start to investigate, maybe genetically, are you prone to significant fibroids? You know, this is where you really start investigating and seeing how you can really take action to not only stop the growth, but get it into remission. Okay, because there's so much research out there that supports that. There's so much you can do to actually shrink the fibroids, and this is what we're really here to do, and you know, encourage each other and let you know that you're not alone on your journey. So thank you for joining. If you've got any questions or you've got anything to say in regards to maybe your journey, feel free to share, or if you want to join the live, request to join, and we can all, you know, empower each other. I'm just going to check if there's anything I've missed. Thanks for joining, Daisy. Thank you. I will be back. Oh, is that what you want me to call you? Okay, I will be back. Okay, cool. I will be back. Says, sorry to hear about your surgery. The surgery causes hormonal upset. Yes, it does. Yeah. And I will be back. Also says, period pains are uterine contractions that shed the lining of the uterus because an egg was not fertilized. Okay, thank you for that. Okay, so what we wanted to kind of talk about now, maybe you want to share that point, Ilero, with like the topic for today.
Okay. So we were thinking about, you know, we've been talking about the symptoms that we get, the regular symptoms we get about when you have fibroids, what to look out for or what to see, if just in case you have them, so you can know, you know, to see your doctor. And I also found out some days ago about certain other symptoms that we don't really talk about. They are not voiced out on the open, in the open. So someone might have a symptom and don't realize it's related to fibroids. So one of the ones I found out some days ago was about when the fibers twisted. It's called the twisting of the fibroids. It says that it causes you know, the blood vessel that the fiber feeds on. So when it's twisted, it stops the blood from flowing, and when that happens, it causes very severe pain. And once the person has the scan and they see that that's what's happened, the person is taken in straight for emergency surgery. because it's not safe at all. I never heard about it, but this was my first time, hearing about it. It says it feeds, so once it's feeding the tumor, it causes severe pain and severe heavy bleeding as well. So the person has to have an emergency surgery. Another one I learned, which Nina confirmed, was the one about swollen legs, swollen feet. Also, the same thing, blockage of the blood vessel as well. That would cause swollen legs. Yeah.
Yeah, circulation being
Yeah.
impaired. Yeah.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's some symptoms that aren't so common.
Yeah.
And it's really just, not overlooking these experiences, not trying to shrug them off, maybe down to your work schedule. That was me. I would work so much. It was like, I can't even afford to not like to stop and evaluate what was going on, because it was just so demanding. So really
Yeah.
avoid that, listen to your body, and really check out anything that is out of the ordinary, or
Ordinary.
incremental, that's kind of building on you, like pains and things like that. Neola is asking, what would make a fibroid
Bigger.
bigger rapidly?
Mm.
Do you want to go
Okay.
first?
So the different reasons why that could happen, and like we always say, everyone's body responds differently. What could trigger one person might not be what would trigger me. So for fibers to grow bigger, it could be sometimes due to what we're eating, due to stress, and sometimes the body, the fiber is being fed. When you feed your fibers, it grows. That it just grows. So if you don't cut off those things you're feeding it, it just keeps growing. And then added with stress, that's what, well, I'm going to say with my experience, that was what happened with me, because the more stressed I was, the more it was growing, until I learned, to take the steps of cutting down on everything. But there are different things that could actually make it grow bigger and grow aggressively. So yeah, Nina is the expert in this area, I guess.
Yeah, so the main thing which Alero touched on is hormonal. Hormonal is probably the most key and profound variable in regards to the speed of the fibroids growing, because stress levels is the cortisol stress hormone, unnaturally high in your body. So it's the hormonal imbalances, and depending on the severity of those, because you've got obviously the fertility kind of hormones, and then you've got stress hormones, and because the body kind of functions based on those kind of connections, and how the chemical reactions take place, etc., which is all linked to your hormones. Essentially, it's like a fire being started, and a point will come where it just really picks up if it's not being quenched. And like Alero says, you're not addressing these variables, and obviously what we eat every day is the hugest kind of variable that impacts how every other thing will behave. So for example, sugar intake. If you're starting off your day, with certain sugars, this is going to impact how your body functions throughout the day, how it's able to support key organs, etc. So you can just imagine if things are not aligned, and everything is connected. So this is what it is. It's predominantly, to answer your question, hormonal. In my opinion, that's the biggest the contributing factor when it comes to the growth, the speed of growth of fibroids. And like Alero said, same in my case. I went through a very stressful time, and it was like, I just as that kind of ended, that was when everything kind of broke loose in regards to diagnosis and everything like that. So the stress hormones were a key part, my diet was a key part, so there was lots of factors there. Yeah, so I hope that answers your question. Thanks for asking that. Okay, welcome to those that have just joined us. So It's really, again, about how can you reduce potential trauma, you know, on your journeys. You're welcome, Neola. You know, how can you? Well, it's about being proactive. You know, it's about, again, when you're getting diagnosed with anything, seeking second opinions, seeking different perspectives, because we can often take one consultant's perspective as Bible, so to speak, when actually it's their own experience of life, it's their own understandings. You could speak with another consultant that's had a different level of experience and is much more maybe optimistic about holistic approaches because they've seen, you know, success stories. So when they're going to give you a perspective on it, they're going to give you a much more enlightened perspective that really opens up the realm of holistic approach. So it's important to get a few opinions, you know, just to cover that. And then also investigate into your family history, how prone genetically you are, because again, that's going to factor in regards to the likelihood of seeing them grow over a significant number of years. So really just being proactive and then looking at how you can address your diet, address other factors that you have to kind of do a what's the word, a bit like an MOT on those factors. How is it performing? How do you feel, you know, when you eat certain foods, etc., just to identify inflammation that's happening very repetitively. Are you constantly feeling bloated? You know, are there telltale signs of issues within your body that you might ordinarily be ignoring? So, you know, it's about going deeper and then having that professional support as well, just to get that clarity, because that's something I didn't do. You know, I really didn't get professional insight early enough. I will be back said, I had a friend whose fibroid grew to the size of a melon. She was then told it became cancerous. She passed months after. My
Oh
God.
my
Wow,
goodness.
that's so sad. Wow. So sorry.
Sorry
So
about
sorry to
that.
hear that.
That is sad.
That is really, 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 and I must add that is very
It's rare.
it's rare. Yeah, most fibroids are non-cancerous, but there is that percentage that obviously is. So sorry, I will be back. Sorry for your loss. That's really, really significant. And just curious, when, if anyone has any conditions, when you were initially diagnosed, did you kind of follow a clear course of action where you really took action, or were you just kind of, you know, overlooking it and just getting on with normal life? If anyone wants to share, that would be great. In regards to other symptoms that aren't so common,
Mm.
I've actually spoken to a few women that have experienced pressure on, like it affects their breathing. And this is rare as well, but
Wow.
when their fibroids are leaning on certain arteries,
Great.
um,
Oh.
yeah, so this obviously is really potentially obviously very dangerous. So if you are finding that your breathing is impaired, get it investigated. One of the ladies I spoke with, she's actually an advocate as well, but I've forgotten her name. She had to get so many different opinions because they couldn't see anything. And it was like the final opinion she was getting that the woman said, okay, it was a woman doctor. And then she
Yeah.
said, she investigated a bit further, and that's where they saw that it was leaning on a key artery, and that's what was causing the impact on her cardiovascular
Mm.
system. So that's another one to be really wary of, because sometimes it can just be linked to
Yeah,
anemia. You know,
yeah,
that's
I was
like the
going to say,
obvious.
because I was going to say that's what my one was, because I used to lose a lot of breath, but that was because my oxygen level was dropping because of my severe anemia. But now this is so different. I would never have thought about it.
Yeah, yeah, exactly. So it's one to,
Mm.
um, yeah, especially you need to get that addressed in regards to it can't grow any further, you know, if it's already pressing on an artery, whether it's going to be medical intervention via injections to shrink or like diet lifestyle, but it needs to be addressed as a matter of
Yes. As
urgency.
urgency,
Mm,
yes. Uh,
yeah,
wow.
yeah,
Yeah.
yeah.
I think another one should be, I don't know if, I think it's a bit common, I guess, but not too common. It's when the the fiber is going on, it's leaning against it's putting pressure on the rectum.
Okay.
So I had that one, and it was pushing on my rectum. So when my period's coming, because like 2 weeks before my period, I start having really bad pains. So I know I'm getting towards the time. It gives me about 2 weeks, and then when my period starts, my I get it pulls out. My rectum pulls out all through my period. So if my period lasts for 3 months, it's going to be that way. So I'm in pain from behind. I'm in pain, the pressure. But the doctors said they couldn't do any surgery, because if I'm still going to be in pain all the time, with the period of time, it's going to be the same again, pulls out. But once the periods are over, the pain slowed down, it goes back in. So the pressure from the from where the fiber is leaning on also causes pain in the rectum.
Wow. Wow.
Yeah,
That's the first time I've heard that.
yeah.
Wow. Wow. That must. So how that did that persist for long, or was it
Oh,
like a
I
short?
lived with that for years, years and years. And I lived there for years. Like, it was so bad. Like, I'm sitting down, I'm in pain. Sometimes I don't know. You know, your head, you're trying to address the pain. Which part is
Mm,
worse? Is it the one from down there, or from the front, or from the back? Like, it was there for years. It was there for
wow.
years. So until the fibers, so that's why when I had bowel endo in my bowel, I did not realize it, because even though my fibers are shrunk, after having my session with you and everything, my fibers stopped growing, which was fantastic. But I kept saying to you, I felt as I was feeling a different kind of pain and everything.
Mm,
I had
mm,
the colonoscopy done. They couldn't find anything. They found two polyps and took that out from my bowel, and they said, "Oh, everything is fine." But I could feel it, like something's wrong, and the pain kept coming back again. So
mm.
that took a couple of years, and then eventually they said, "Oh, you have um endo in your
Okay.
bowel." That they had
Wow.
to, yeah. So I had to have an excision done with that.
Wow.
Mm.
Wow. And I spoke with a lady recently that had two, I mean, I said to you yesterday, two resections of the fibroids, keyhole and through her vagina,
Yeah,
and she'd had a myectomy, and then she was diagnosed with endo and adenomyosis after,
after
going
all of
through
that.
all of that. And so it's clear. I think the consensus is in regards to the procedures,
Yeah,
the more invasive
yeah.
procedures,
It's clear
and
that. Yeah,
the reshaping and scraping of the
yeah,
fibroid, which is meant to be a more less invasive, but it
yeah.
appears to
But we
still
live
be.
in a causing scarring, I guess. So,
Yes, yes, absolutely, because
mm,
she's now the adhesions and everything is now caused the level of obviously inconsistency where it's classified as now
yeah,
endometriosis and adenomyosis.
that's crazy.
I will be back said in my field of work, pregnancy, women with fibroids all had cesareans. Okay. Okay. To be fair, I was so close to having a natural birth with my first daughter. It was literally, she was going to be natural. But what happened was she just didn't want to come out. I was in labor for close to 3 days, active labor.
Wow.
Yeah, I was exhausted. And it was at that point they just said because her breathing dropped, they're
Mm.
going to take her out. But I was so close. I was dilated like I think it was 8 centimeters.
Yeah.
I was, it was all about to happen. But yeah,
Yeah.
so I nearly wasn't a C-section for the first one, and obviously because I was,
Yeah. Once
all the
you
other
are,
ones,
every other one would follow. Yeah.
yeah,
Well,
was high.
I guess let me not pronounce that name wrongly now. I will be back. I guess you said the women with fibroids all have cesareans. I guess that because the fibroids are really big. Because if they're not so big, I don't think they would really necessarily need to have a CS done. Because I know people with fibroids that are small, they give birth naturally. So I
Mm.
think also depending how big it is and the risk involved will make them have that decision or make that decision to undergo CS, unless of course the women decided they wanted it. Because some women say they want CS. So.
Yeah, sure. If that's asking, can the fibroid cause hemo hemorrhoids?
Hemorrhoids. Yeah, that's what I just described. Yeah, hemorrhoids. It does. Well, for me, it did. Let me not. For me, it did, and I know a few people have had that as well. So yeah.
Okay. And Andio is saying it also depends on the location. Absolutely. Yeah. Yeah, that's a key factor. And I think in my case, it was because I'd had the myomectomy and the
Mm.
scar tissue. There's a drug, the drug that they give to speed up labor,
Labor.
that drug compromises the stitching and the scar tissue, and that's what increases chances of rupturing. So that's
Okay.
what they're really concerned with, because if they can only give you so much of that, because
Mm.
the scarring and the, yeah, so that's the reason, and that's why you're high risk if you've had the myomectomy for potentially having to have the C-section, because they can only give that drug to a certain limit, and that's it.
That's it.
But I don't know the name of that drug. Um, the doctors were concerned about her bleeding. I will be back said, okay. Yeah, yeah, it depends, because I've spoken to women that have had natural births with fibroids, and some of them actually, they take the opportunity to remove some of the fibroids as well, because because of where they're positioned, they can
Mm.
just kind of sweep them out as well with the baby, and they
Okay.
that as an opportunity to take some out. So it really depends, and the same way with having the C-section, they take the opportunity once the ladies
Yep.
opened up
Yes. Opened
to,
up.
yeah,
Yeah.
remove any if they can. It depends on the blood loss. Like I will be back said, if they're bleeding a lot, then they won't want to try and take out fibroids, during that kind of during delivery. They'll just obviously sew them up and leave it. Yeah.
Neola.
Neola
What
says, what
about
about pain
pain?
evaluation can be related to fibroids?
Oh, I think she means ovulation. Pain during
Oh,
ovulation. Yeah.
ovulation. Okay.
Um,
Okay.
I don't think so. I think some people just have it naturally. They have pain during ovulation naturally.
Okay. So she's asking, what about pain during ovulation? Can that
Yes.
be related to fibroids? Yeah. Yeah, exactly, Alero. It can just be some women just experience more pain, less pain during ovulation than others. Okay. Does anyone want to join and share Anything?
Yeah, I was going to say, I will be back. Are you a nurse? Does anyone want to come on? Request to join in to say something?
And also the size of the baby too, as the baby and the fibroids fight for estrogen. Yeah, interestingly enough, during all my pregnancies, I was doing a supplement plan. I was very active, and I didn't have my fibroids did not grow during any of my pregnancies. I never had an issue with their growing, with the baby. And I've heard it, actually. I've heard one of my friends, unfortunately, the fibroids were growing faster than the baby. It was like, when we're talking about the hormonal impact of fibroid growth, that was it there. The hormones, it was just so, it was a big catalyst. And by the end, it was so touch and go, because one of the fibroids ruptured and she lost so much blood. It was so touch and go, put it that way. But
And she was pregnant.
Sorry?
And she was pregnant.
Yeah, she gave birth. She was pregnant, she gave birth, but on the delivery, she lost so much blood because one of the fibroids ruptured. And it was touch and go to give her enough blood, because she lost so much blood. And you can imagine losing blood for the delivery and then losing blood because this fibroid's ruptured. So it was very touch and go, but she's fine. She's fine now.
Oh, bless her. Bless her.
Yeah. Okay. Okay, I will be back is a doula. A doula. Great. Great. That sounds like a rewarding profession. Ivo 10K.
Yeah. Evie. Yeah.
Oh, okay.
Hi, Evie. Yeah. With my first son, my fibroids grew. Baby was able to suppress the growth. Oh, that's great. So did you take out the fibers after he was born, or you left it alone? Hey.
Hey. Thanks for joining.
Evie, did you take out the fibroids after you had your son, or you left the fibroids alone?
No, doctors didn't suggest removal.
Okay. And you didn't have any problems with it after that? This is the first time I actually heard you even had fibroids. Fantastic.
Hey, Janae, thanks for joining.
Thanks for joining.
We've covered quite a bit, actually. Left it alone.
Left it alone. Okay.
Okay. Well, it's been really, really informative, and I think it's so important to just kind of summarize what we've touched on, to be aware of other less common symptoms when it comes to fibroids and other womb conditions like endometriosis, adenomyosis, and also to note that when you are having any procedures, whether they're invasive or less invasive, that you're kind of high risk now to developing endometriosis or adenomyosis, because of the way the healing of the area will, whatever transpires, and that will vary depending on the approach of the surgeon. There's so many other variables, but just be aware that your risk is higher now, so you've just got to have a plan in place after the procedure. And also how to reduce your trauma on your journeys is about being as proactive as possible. This is really key. Janae's asking, if you undergo a myomectomy, can you have a natural birth, or is a C-section your only route? Great question. We have kind of covered that. I've known women to have a natural birth after a myomectomy. I was very close, but my daughter, she was really stubborn and she was just not budging. So, and I was in active labor for 3 days and I was so close. So I nearly did. So yes, absolutely, you can have a natural birth. But once you've had a myomectomy, as I mentioned before, if let's say, because every birth is going to be different, and let's say they need to speed up your delivery, that drug that they give you is what compromises the scar tissue, and it increases your chances of rupturing. So that's what they're trying to avoid, basically. So just focus on what you want. Don't have that as a fear factor. Focus on whatever birthing plan you want, manifest it, focus on it, and it will be. Just believe that everything will be fine,
Yeah.
and that's what it will be. Don't let that fear set in and think, it will be a C-section. No, it can absolutely be a natural birth, and whatever that birth looks like for you. Okay, thanks for that question. Did you want to share anything else, Alero, or before we?
Well, I think we cannot say this enough. If you know any woman, young girl who's having period pain or symptoms of, hormonal trouble, it is best to start now. We're trying to encourage people not to wait, try to tolerate the pain, try to live with the pain, saying, oh, I don't want to have a surgery, I don't want to do this, I don't want to do that. It is best to take action now, especially if you have a daughter who's a teenager. Get her checked, know what's wrong, or if she has no trouble, that's fine, but start taking care of your body, start taking care of your health, make sure your hormone is balanced. That's the major thing we need to start doing now, so that in another
diet.
supplement diet, your supplement, your diet, exercises, do everything you need to do now before it's too late. Don't wait till you're in your late 20s, 30s, and then doctors are telling you this is what's wrong, and the next thing is surgery. We need to avoid that. That should be like when there's no choice. And if we can take care of the womb now, why wait till another 20 years? If you have to cut out sugar, cut out sugar. If you have to change the food you eat, take off your African food or West Indies food or whatever it is you're eating. If you have to change that to be healthy, then do that, please, because our health is the only thing we've got. It's our wealth. Without health, you can't do nothing. You can't go to work. You can't make the money you want to make. You can't live the life you want to live. So, yes, take care of your womb. Take care of your health.
Yeah, couldn't have said it better. Thank you, Alero. So thank you for joining, ladies. You're welcome, Janae. Thanks for joining. This is like a monthly event. Alero's actually got another event on her page next week. Is it on the 20?
On the 24th, on Friday, next Friday.
Friday, 24th. So I'll be there. Can't wait. And let's continue to empower each other. It's a journey. It's about you just making those little adjustments that just make the world of difference to your mood, to your stress levels, and always prioritize you. I was in a marriage that I was made to feel anytime I did anything for myself, it was like, oh, that's taking too long, or that costs too much. But never, ever push yourself to the side. Always prioritize, because you can't pour from an empty cup. And often women emotionalize so much, and we have to do so much. And that ends up causing disease. So look after yourselves, ladies. Have a stress management plan. Don't be afraid to say no, and put yourself first, put your health first, put your mental health first, because
Definitely.
you will always matter. All right, take care. Thank you for joining.
Thank you all for joining. Much appreciated. See you all third Sunday next month.
Yeah. Oh no, next week for your event.
Oh, for my event, yes, next week Friday. Oh, it's going to be amazing. You need
Yeah,
to
I
come
can't
and listen
wait.
to.
I
You
can't wait.
need to come and
Thank you.
listen to her story. Thank you.
Oh,
Thank you, everyone.
thanks, Renee. Take care.
Take care.
Bye.
Bye.